my childhood, I've been asking for answers to questions about life, destiny, human nature, the meaning of our existence.
Some books entertain us, others teach us something new, and then there are books that simply invite us to stop and think. Author Sergiy Adamenko has spent much of his life asking some of humanity's oldest questions. Questions about life, destiny, and the choices that shape who we become. Those questions are what inspired his latest novel, The Step of the Wolf.
The Curaed Chapter. Stories worth knowing. Hand-selected voices. Fascinating people. Hidden stories with Sam Humans.
Part historical novel and part spiritual journey, The Step of the Wolf is the final book in a trilogy following one soul through many different lives. Every lifetime presents another challenge, and every challenge teaches another lesson. Together, those lives explore love, sacrifice, faith, destiny, and the choices that shape who we become. Sergiy talks about his motivation for writing this book.
My motivation for writing this book was deeply personal. Since my childhood, I've been asking for answers to questions about life, destiny, human nature, the meaning of our existence. Writing became a way for me to explore these questions, not only for myself, but also together with my readers. In the story, I wanted to travel into the past, better understand the present, and perhaps inspire people to think more carefully about the future they are creating through their choices today. So for me, Step of the Wolf, more than just a novel, it's an invitation to reflect on who we are, where we came from, and what kind of legacy we want to leave behind.
The trilogy is told through a series of interconnected stories, and one of the first introduces a Viking warrior. During a raid, he captures a young woman as a prisoner, but instead of treating her as an enemy, he falls in love with her. And when 3 warriors from his own tribe threaten her, he kills them all to protect her. Forced to flee, the couple builds a new life together, and one day he rescues an injured she-wolf, nurses her back to health, and the wolf becomes both companion and protector. Now, years later, when his past finally catches up with him, the wolf stands beside him in one final battle. And this all takes place in the first chapter. It's one chapter, one lifetime, but it's a story that spans nearly 1,000 years.
The novel explores the soul's journey toward God through a series of reincarnations. Throughout these different lives, the soul experiences existence from many perspectives. It's about not only as different human beings, but also as a tree or a wolf. Each reincarnation teaches a new lesson and reveals another piece of a much larger spiritual puzzle.
As the soul moves through different lives, familiar connections begin to appear, and that led Sergiy to ask some intriguing questions.
In life, why do we sometimes dream about places we have never visited? Why do we occasionally see the face of a complete stranger and feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity? Why do certain moments feel as though we have already lived them before? We call these experiences like deja vu, coincidence, or simply tricks of imagination. But what if there are something more? What kind of fragments of memory carried the soul from another time, another life, another journey?
And those questions didn't appear out of nowhere. Long before Sergiy began writing this trilogy, life had already given him difficult questions of his own to answer. After his hometown in Ukraine was occupied by Russian forces, he returned to serve as a volunteer battalion. When he came back to Ireland, those experiences became the foundation for his first book, The Heroes of Modernity.
My own town was occupied by Russians in 2014. And since then, in 2017, I decided to join. It was an unusual experience because I left Ukraine in 1997. So by that time, it was 20 years outside of country. And when I came there, It's volunteer. It was very strange experience because volunteer battalion, the people are there, they are communicating between each other without knowing their real names. It's actually only by nicknames. It's because it's for certain reasons, for security reasons, they were hiding their original names. In the very beginning, I faced some unusual like attitude towards me. They were very suspicious. But meantime, I started to show in them that I not a stranger in that unit. And we started working more. I started participating in battles in trenches. And then when I came back to Ireland, I decided to write about those people whom I met in trenches, because volunteers, they are not welcomed in any country because the government cannot rule them. For myself, it was quite unfair when we know about somebody who is he was killed on the battlefield, and the people become aware about this when he has already passed away, not when he is still alive. And so that book, the Heroes of Modernity, was about the people who are still alive. We have to pay tribute to them, and we have to thank them for what they do.
That first book honored the people Sergiy met on the battlefield. The trilogy that followed explores a different kind of journey, not across countries, but across centuries. And rather than telling readers what to believe, Sergiy simply asked them to think.
The longer I sought the truth, the more I came to understand how multifaceted and complex it truly is. These books were never intended to teach or preach. For me, they become a journey through history, memory, dreams, the human soul itself. While working on this story, I often had the feeling that the narrative was guiding me rather than the other way around. Characters began to find their own voices, even intervened in unexpected ways, and certain images kept returning again and again, as if reminding me of something long forgotten.
Whether you read The Step of the Wolf as historical fiction, a spiritual journey, or just an adventure that spans centuries, it's ultimately a story about people, the choices we make, and the lessons we learn along the way. And Sergiy hopes readers will close the book asking a few questions of their own.
I don't know what answers each reader will find, but I sincerely hope that by the time they turn the final page, they will see the world a little differently than they did when they start this journey.
So if this sounds like an interesting read, the book is called The Step of the Wolf by Sergiy Adamenko, and it's available now at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or wherever you like to buy books. Thank you, Sergiy, for sharing your story, and thank you for listening to this edition of The Curated Chapter from webtalkradio.com.
The Curated Chapter. Stories worth knowing. Stories worth knowing. Hand-selected voices. Fascinating people, hidden stories. Hidden stories with Sam Humans. Sam Humans. The Curated Chapter. Stories worth knowing.